Hey team, it's time for an early career designer's portfolio review. I'm Megan Thomas, and I'm a senior UX designer with almost 10 years of experience in enterprise software design. I've taught and mentored over 300 early career designers through UC Berkeley's UX UI Design Bootcamp. In this video, I'm going to review an early career designer's portfolio and share my thoughts as a senior designer. My goal is to provide actionable feedback to help them succeed as they look for a job in the UX industry. Join me for a stream of consciousness walkthrough as I assess one of their case studies. Remember, mine is just one opinion. Make sure to get multiple perspectives before making any changes. All right, let's dive into the review and learn together. All right, welcome to another early career designer portfolio review. I think you know who I am. You just sat through that a very long intro, and you haven't seen a video from me in a couple of weeks. And I'm very sorry about that. I've been traveling for the last couple of weekends, and frankly, when you travel, it is just exhausting. I don't know how I did it for 6 years as a flight attendant, because now I'm just like, this time zones thing is bananas. So it doesn't matter. I'm back ready for some early career designer portfolio reviews. I'm going to do a couple today so that I can schedule them out and kind of try to make up some time that I've lost with you. Today, we have Leanne Carriere. I had that, I practiced it, and then I lost it right then when I just tried to say it. So Leanne, thank you so much for giving me permission to review your portfolio. I already really like it. You mentioned in the form that you've just graduated in November of last year, and like already, I need you to know this looks amazing. I know you went with a really simple and clean landing page. That's what you mentioned, and you were wondering if that's actually appealing to hiring managers. I love this. I mean, I'm about to redesign my own website for the 427th time. But I like this. I think it's very clean. I think it's aesthetically pleasing. And I particularly love, let's turn your inspiring insights into human-centered solutions. So what that tells me is that you understand the meaning of user research or research about your users and about products. And then you also use that research. It's research-driven design, not just like stakeholder-driven design. So that's fantastic. I'm excited. I'm always excited. I also love your logo. This is really cute. I love that you've brought this theme through. I love that the colors all tie together. This looks really clean and really nice. So you've got Let's Connect. I'm wondering where that goes. Okay, it goes to your contact. Let me click on that. And I love that this is your contact. I assume, like, we don't have a form or anything here. My first question about that would be, is that your major intention for people? Is that what you want people to do when they come to your site? Or do you want them to view your work first and then get in touch? So if that's your main call to action, that's totally fine. But it feels like you could do something a little bit more powerful. This is a really great example of okay, just gulp down an entire chai tea latte and a Cuban bowl. And those are not working great together. I should edit that, but I never edit these. Okay. I'm wondering if there might be a better call to action here, because what I'm assuming would happen is, like, maybe it's a contact form, it's a ping, it's something interesting that connects to you, but it just goes to a little about page, which is totally fine. I'm happy with that, but I feel like there's more that you could do. All right, let me scroll down and check out your work. I really like these mock-ups as your initial introduction to the projects. I do feel, this is just me, this is typically how I roll. Give me some more information so that I can make a decision better. So what we're offering here for hiring managers is a little more cognitive load than they really want. Imagine, well, I mean, just put yourself in the shoes of someone who has had to make decisions all day, every day. And frankly, at the end of the day, you're like, sure, kids, I pick up my kids and now I'm really putting myself in somebody else's shoes. I do not have kids. They pick up their kids and they're like, right, yeah, you want to stop at McDonald's? Let's stop at McDonald's. I didn't even think about food. So yeah, they're tired of making decisions. So give them some information that allows them to make an easy button decision, you know? So this is an iOS mental well-being self-care. I'm assuming that's an app. Did you do the UX design, the UI design, the user research, the information architecture? What did you do on these to make it easier for me, depending on what need I have on my team, I'm going to pick the project that most aligns with my expectations and my needs on my team. So we've got Lastix, and that doesn't tell me anything. I honestly, LAS ticks, maybe like Las Vegas ticks. I thought this was like elastics, like hair stuff. I don't know. I didn't look. And then we got Ride on Skateboards and Breakwell. So I'm not super pro at apps or anything. So I'm going to click on one of these, but this might not be your number one app, but there's that primacy bias coming in. It's the very first one. I'm assuming that means it's the one that you're most proud of. So the iOS mental well-being self-care. Is that an app? Before you begin, I'd like to give you a heads up that the following case study mentions the following topics: mental health care, overdose, and death by suicide. Okay, wow. I appreciate you putting a content warning at the top. That is really meaningful for people who may be struggling with their own mental health, but also may have a lot of family members and friends who are struggling as well. So that is really classy. And also, it shows that you've given thought and consideration to the user experience. I appreciate that. See what we've got here. These are some stats. This is a bit of a wall of text. Maybe we could break that up into bullet points. I don't know if that's totally necessary. Mental well-being is new with iOS 17. I hypothesized that the Apple Health mental well-being subcategory could be more powerful to empower people to take charge of their mental health. Honestly, swap this. So before you begin, I appreciate the content warning, and then I would launch into here's why I made this case study. I think it could be more powerful to empower users. And then we can talk about the, according to the Center for Disease Control. But this right here, not super compelling. You're really launching into the research and data, and like already it kind of feels heavy. Like, oh, okay, this is a lot of data. I'm preparing myself for what we're going to get into here. But this is helpful. Okay. The constraints. I gave myself a tight timeline of 3 weeks to add a feature to mental well-being, and I used Figma and Google Meet. After conducting user interviews, I asked, how might we empower someone in an emotionally sensitive time, and add an AN there. This is not something everybody noticed. I'm just nitpicky. Emotionally sensitive time or a time of mental health crisis. Mental well-being already features self-assessment tools to help build mental and emotional self-awareness. But what if someone already recognized the signs that it's time for mental self-care? Good question. Okay. You don't actually tell me much about conducting the user interviews. I kind of want to know a little bit about it. It's clear that you're interested in the research. I love that you're bridging straight into the impactful stuff. I'm curious where you got that information and if we're going to find out more about it. After analyzing the data from interviews I conducted, I ideated key components for the self-care feature. Ooh, filter Apple News. I'm a fan. Let's do it. Filter Apple News. God, could I please? Actually, I've been doing a really good job at filtering my LinkedIn. Okay, so location sharing came up as a life-saving feature from one interviewee. They bravely told a story of how sharing their location on their smartphone with a loved one signaled that there had been a suicide attempt via overdose after her location had stayed the same for more than 2 days. Wow. Talking to someone was also a demonstrated approach to self-care, as most users were or currently are still in talk therapy with a qualified therapist. But access to therapy isn't equitable for everyone. I would even pull that out as like this isn't equitable. So this phone app would make it a little easier to bear the burden of a lack of access to therapy. This is good. As a proactive choice, we also chose to include the option, I would say just proactively, we also chose, and this is just you. So I think we're giving a royal we, which is totally fine. I do that too. It just feels confusing. And I only bring this up because hiring managers have mentioned that they have problems sometimes understanding and assessing a case study to find out if this is an individual project. Did the person do all this work, or is it a group project? And now I have to figure out what work this person did. So that is interesting. I chose to include the option to filter out sensitive news topics since we have the ability to work with other Apple apps in the iOS suite. Love this. Okay. Key themes that came up during user research. Looks like that'll take me to a Figma. I'm not going to click through to that. Access to help, confidence and trust, needs plus tiers of intervention. Okay. You're following Apple's user interface guidelines. Fantastic. Interesting. And I love that you're choosing to bring that in. I think I'd like to know a little bit more about how you followed the user interface guidelines to generate low fidelity ideas, especially when you're showing me sketches. I think lots of times folks think that they're supposed to show the sketches. And I got to be honest, I swear to you, it's 50% one way, 50% another. Maybe it's 40-40, and there's 20% in the middle that just don't care. But some people want to see all of the details like this. Me personally, I'm just excited that you sketched something. That's fantastic. And then some hi-fi wireframes with a custom icon for the mental health self-care settings feature. Okay, so custom icon, cute. Mental health self-care settings. Allow health to use your location, slide to power off. Okay. Access to help, confidence, and trust. I want to know what made you decide to make these hi-fi. So not just that you made them, but what it did for you. What did you intend to accomplish? Like, tell me what your mindset was as you went through these, not just that you did them. I want to know these key themes that came up made me decide to create certain screens. One of them was access to help. So I can tell that you've added like the crisis line call here, which is fantastic. But give me the context of because of these research themes, then I made this wireframe, or I made this choice to add a feature to the was it the power off screen? I don't remember it's like the emergency call when you hold it down, or I think when you hit it 5 times, something like that. Although that one might be the emergency alert. Nobody take this for granted. Not an expert on iOS. So yeah, tie those together just a little bit more to tell me this is why I made this screen. Otherwise, you're just showing me pretty mock-ups. All right. Overall, usability testing was a success. More importantly than it's a success, what'd you test? So you've validated the user's ability to locate the mental well-being subcategory, set up self-care preferences, ability to make a call to their regional crisis line. I mean, this is helpful. Something that's a little bit second order thinking. I'd wonder, is this something that people would be able to remember to use when they're in the midst of a crisis? So that's a little harder to do some usability testing on, but that would be something I'd be interested in seeing. Give me a better title. Usability testing was a success. I mean, let's be real. Most people are not going to sit here and be like, testing was a failure. This went really poorly. It would be amazing. I would laugh. I would actually think that is endearing, and I'd love to know more about why they felt it was a failure. So tell me something more important. Is something that I could scan down the page and be like, all right, they did usability testing, got it. But were they able to? Usability testing showed that users were able to access these new features. Something like that would be a little bit more helpful. And again, I say again because this is something that comes up in almost every portfolio review. This visual, not helpful. I can't read this and it's just showing me like, cool, you moved around some post-it notes. Why or what would be more important to show here as a result of the usability testing was a success? And it might not be an image or a screenshot at all. It might be another screen with like an annotation to say 50% of users found this button, something like that. It doesn't need to be an output. It can be the outcome of what the testing was. Completion rate, no errors, time on task, 42 seconds. Interesting. Those are good, interesting metrics. I don't know what the actual normal would be because these are new features, but it is some kind of metrics to say, hey, we did test something. So that's interesting. I like this. Based on testing, a few things we think the mental health self-care feature could benefit from in the future. The option to remove social media icons from the home screen, the ability to ask Siri to call the crisis line. Now I'm like waiting for my phone to be like, what? Due to the sensitive nature of the project, I had to be very proactive about finding users to interview and to recruit for usability testing. I'm endlessly grateful to the participants for their vulnerability. It was incredibly rewarding to work on a feature that was well received and has the potential to make a real and significant impact on human lives. This is great. Let's see. That must be your okay. Have that open in a new tab. It's as simple as adding a target equals double quote underscore blank end double quote, and you'll add that into your a href tag, and it will open that tab or open that screen in a new tab. This looks really good. Is this just a screenshot? This is good. All right, we got the health. Can I scroll down this? What's happening here? Oh, browse, mental well-being, anxiety risk, depression risk. Oh, I can scroll, set up, filter Apple News. What does that mean? Remove sensitive content. I'd love to know if there was any parameters that you thought would be helpful for filtering that Apple News. If any of the results from your user testing or your user interviews indicated that they're just specific topics that should be default filtered. Interesting. We're going to say done, allowable using the app. Okay, cool. Oh, I'm nervous what happens. I don't want to call anybody. All right. Let me get back to the self-care. Oh, and this is amazing. So what I think you could do, I love this. Thank you for reading the case study. This is really beautiful. You've got a real sense of very similar to the way Apple design works on their website. It's real clean, lots and lots of white space, lots of just room for the design to breathe. That is so woo, but you know what I'm saying. Make that open in a new tab and give someone an opportunity to reach out to you. How can I help you rethink the feature in your app? Contact me today, kind of thing. It is psychological priming, and it helps the hiring manager to not just continue going through really rote motions and doing the same thing. Okay, I looked at the case study, but actually gives them a call to action. So not just try it, but maybe a second button that says, contact me. I'm ready for an interview, something like that. This is really good. I'm super impressed with both the layout design and what you did choose to include in the case study to make it not so overwhelming, but show that you've brought a lot of thoughtfulness and user data driven design decisions. No, that was really awkward. Okay. You've done a really good job here. I love it. Thank you so much, Leanne, for giving me the opportunity to review your portfolio. I genuinely hope this is helpful. If anyone is watching this all the way to the very bitter end, if you could hit that subscribe button, I think it's somewhere down here. If you could hit that, that would be genuinely amazing for me. I would genuinely appreciate you. And as always, if I am the first person to tell you today, I love you, I'm proud of you, and I am so excited to celebrate your success. Have a great rest of your day.